Okay, so we got the Sak Pase Interview. Got that. We got the Janelle Monae with the Mellody Hobbs name drop. And we got the Starbucks.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to flow and go with that, right?
Yeah, we should be good.
All right.
Do you think that?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
So, you ready?
Ready, CB?
Let's do it.
Please, baby, come on home.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Brent, Money, and Life, our podcast. This is the Hip Hop Stock Doc. Eric Patrick. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode 5. We thank you for checking out our website, www.thebmex.com. That's www.thebmex.com. Also, continue to follow us on Instagram at black_market_exchange and Twitter at bmex_. We're also on SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, you name it, we got it, we're there. Go ahead and check us out. And I'm here today with
At Carter Park, yes. Definitely check us out on YouTube. Check us out on SoundCloud. If you're checking us out on YouTube, please subscribe. Please comment. We love the feedback we have been getting. And, you know, we are grateful to everyone that's been listening. And we are grateful and blessed to bring you the information that we have. What we got going on today, E?
I first want to touch on, we had to do a interview with a producer in the game by the name of Sak Pase.
Sak Pase, what's up to all my Haitians out there?
And we actually wanted to, the reason that this came about was because many of you know we've been doing this verse of the week lately, where we take hip-hop lyrics or even just music lyrics in general and try to flip it and make an educational point to take some of the negativity away that hip-hop has gotten over the years.
Yeah, because at this point, most of the hip-hop that you consume is detrimental. It's not building any foundation. It's actually tearing down foundation. Because we were talking a while back, and I'm just going to elaborate on this real quick, but we were talking a while back about Rosetta Stone, right?
Yeah.
They use a technique which is a repetition technique to let you learn the language, right?
Content, yeah.
So it helps you learn the content that in which you are trying to learn, right? So hip hop does the same thing, whether you like it or not. So if it's violence, misogyny, and whatever it may be, even though you're not subscribing to learn that, if you listen to it every day, then that's somehow getting embedded into your head, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So that's why we felt it important, and the idea came from a genius guy, the hip hop stock doc, Eric. He was like, we should do the verse of the week. And I was like, that's great, because if you're listening to hip hop already and you're getting detrimental things, why don't you get something that's instrumental in helping you build wealth?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So that was the idea behind it. So we took these lyrics out of popular hip hop songs and we said, hey, not only are they talking about this, but here's a piece of knowledge you can take out of here. You can use that to invest in yourself. You know?
Exactly.
And all the terms are explained, and you guys should really check that out, man. Check that out.
So basically, we had a connection in order to get in touch with his camp, and so just a little background about him. He's from Florida, and some of his production credits or just music involvement. He's been involved with T.I. on his Paperwork album, Nicki Minaj's Pink Print that just came out not too long ago, as well as Jay-Z and Kanye West Watch the Throne album. So he's got some nice little credits under his belt.
He got some credits under his belt.
Yeah.
He got some credits under his belt. We really appreciate him taking the time out of his day, to answer some questions that we have for him, Because when you're working with artists like that, man, the schedule is hectic. You're going like 24/7, man, and we were not able to have him, call in, but he did take time out of his day to answer the questions that we sent him. And hey, man, we're really grateful for that, man.
Yeah, and actually, so we can go ahead and get into it. The first question was, how did he get into music and exclusively into hip hop and R&B. And I know CP that you're actually into music yourself, so you'll probably be able to answer this question as well.
Yeah. You let the cat out the bag, man.
Yeah. So,
I'm an analyst by day, and I'm a music producer. I do hip hop music, R&B as well, and I engineer and I write, arrange, and compose and produce.
The intro that y'all hear now that we got, that's CP over here, man.
Yeah, so that's me. So if you like the beat, holla at me. No, I'm just playing. But no, serious, I'm not playing. If you like the beat, holla at me. Because I love doing music. That's one of the things me and the Hip Hop Stock Dog we connected on, man. I love music, and I found out in order to do music, I needed finance. Mm-hmm. So I looked at myself and I said, hey, how can I finance this music career, right? Because I was speaking to you earlier and I was telling you that when I started making music, I'm from Texas, right? Mm-hmm. You're from Florida, so we're down south boys, right?
Yeah.
And there's a certain type of music that comes out of the South, Mm-hmm. But I really wasn't on that, man. I was really more into East Coast music. And it was hard for me to find a producer to give me that gritty New York sound that I wanted, Mm-hmm. Even though music has no regions right now, still when a New York MC grabs the mic, you can tell where he's from. Yeah. So I said, you know what? How can I invest in myself? So I started looking at my investments that I already had because I was an analyst, and I was like, you know what? The money that I'm making off of these investments, I can invest in myself. You know what I did? I bought me music software. I bought software that taught me how to actually engineer. I bought music studios. I started out with minuscule stuff, and I just worked my way up. I bought me a mic, preamps, special kind of computers that were built for music.
You get real technical.
Yeah. And I bought all this stuff, but that goes to say that I use the money from my investments to invest in myself. Even what we record the podcast on now, that was an investment that I made in myself.
Now, he mentioned that his first time he went into a studio, an engineer said that it almost seems like it comes natural to you being there, and he knew that that's what he wanted to do. He was actually attending Michigan State, and he said he dropped out of school to pursue music full time. Now my question to you is, do you feel that music was inherent in you to do, and do you feel the same way about finance? Because granted, my parents were in banking, but I'm a pharmacist by trade. I don't work in finance by trade. However, I was able to learn the system. I was able to learn the market. So what are your thoughts on that in terms of the music and the finance side?
Okay, well, on the music side, the music definitely was already in me, because when I was in college, having a music career was not my goal. My dad is a teacher and my mom is in healthcare. Mm-hmm. So, but my grandfather is a musician, and he's been a musician all his life. Okay. My brother is a musician, and I think that was something that was passed down. When I first heard my first rap song, I was in love,
Yeah.
I was in love. My brothers.
Man, what was the first piece of music you bought? I don't mean to cut you off, but
it was Illmatic by Nas. I was a kid, and I bought that, and I bought Raekwon, the Purple Tape.
Man, mine was Bone Thugs, that East 1999. It was funny because I was such a young cat. Like I actually did like a presentation for my parents because I knew it had parental advisory on it. Yeah. So I was like in the living room. I was showing the music videos like, you see, this is good music right here. Yeah. And I remember I went to Blockbuster when it was still open. Oh, yeah. And I copped that joint.
Young cats don't know about Blockbuster music. Yeah. But Blockbuster music, yeah, man. And as a matter of fact, it's so funny that you say that, because that's where I copped Nas and Raekwon from. Mm-hmm. I remember I had got my first paycheck. I was working at Albertsons. I was like 14 years old. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm copping. I walked over to Blockbuster Music and I copped those two. It was the Purple Tape, which is Built for Cuban Links only. I got the CD, but it's recognized as the purple tape, but it was Illmatic and that, and I rocked those out, man.
Okay.
But from that point, when I heard Nas spit, when I heard Ray and Ghost spit on those, I knew that I wanted to do something in music. And I had been rapping and just doing beats and stuff in my head. I knew that I had an affinity for it, and I knew that I was pretty good because I would let people hear stuff that I had did with like primitive material, and they would be like, "Yo, this is good."
And a lot of artists, they say when they start out, I mean, I think Crit said he started out on a PlayStation or something like that.
Yeah.
And Crit, for everybody may not know, like. People, I mean, technology is great nowadays. You almost don't even have to have soundboards and stuff
like
to be a beat, to make some beats.
Like, you don't have to. Shout out to Ninth Wonder was the first, I think, the first producer to make a beat totally on computers and it be viable.
Yeah, that Fruity Loops. Man.
Yeah, man. Ninth Wonder, man. We need to be paying homage and giving credit to him. But I started doing it on the computer, but I knew that was my fit. That was my fit. And on the finance side, I didn't know that I wanted to be in finance. I hated math. I wanted to be a teacher like my dad. And I was studying English, and totally out of the blue, God had another plan for me. He sent the VP of a Fortune 500 company to my place of employment, and I was just working there as a kid, and she offered me a entry-level job in finance. And that's how I got my start.
See, that's how God works, man. He can bless you when you least expect it.
He blessed, and let me tell everybody out there, and this is real right here. This is real. We're gonna take a time out, and I'm gonna tell you this for real. I was cleaning toilets when the VP of Human Resources at a Fortune 500 company found me, and she said, "I like your demeanor, I like your personality, and I like your honesty." Because she took me through an honesty test before she offered me a job. And I won't get into details what that was, but luckily enough, I had God instilled in me that I was honest. And she said, "Well, I'm going to offer you a job." She gave me an entry-level job at a Fortune 500 financial institution. Dude. And I took that
with no prior knowledge.
I didn't even have a resume, dude. Yo, I went up to the thing because I was a kid. I was 17.
Yeah. I
went up to the thing and I was like, "I don't have a resume." And I remember her walking out of the office and she was like, "That's all right. I already got an interview ready for you." So, I contribute that to God blessing me. And that's why it's so important for us to bless you guys. We don't want anything in return. We want to give you the knowledge that we have acquired over the years to help you build personal wealth, to help you make smarter financial decisions, because somebody helped me so I can help somebody else. That's my whole thing.
That's what Black Market Exchange is about. We want to help others. I mean, you were offered a position, and I kind of just took it upon myself to learn the game. I was like, here's the stock market, and I know you guys have heard me say it before. I bought in during the whole Facebook IPO situation, but I really wasn't in it. And then all of a sudden, one day I was like, man, let me look more into it, and it was just like it was so intriguing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, man, like this isn't as difficult as it seems.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, we got to be able to share this with people. So Black Market Exchange, like, we had to make a platform to make it relatable, because that was also crucial. We need to make something, even though it's already easy to understand, that's not the perception, because I had the same perception.
That's right. We at Black Market Exchange, we felt like that people were scared sometimes by investing. They were like, "I don't know, the ticker is going all crazy, it's red, green, I don't know what's going on." But when you we try to make it as plain as possible without taking any validity away from the actual knowledge that we're presenting. So, that was the thing. When me and you connected, I wanted to give you all the knowledge that I had. I was ready to pour that out. And then your idea was, "Hey, let's pour this out to the masses."
Yeah.
So that's how God works, and that's how we should think. So let's take every other aspect out of it and just say, "Hey, I'm an individual, whether you believe in God or not. But if you're an individual and you're holding on to knowledge and you never share that knowledge with anybody else, really, what are you doing?"
And here is something that like it started just from a concept sitting in my living room to now we got an interview with a producer from Jay-Z and Watch the Throne, Jay-Z and Kanye West Watch the Throne album. Like it's crazy how something can kind of flourish before you even know it. You know what I'm saying? Like the connections that can happen and the research you can make by just wanting to share something and really not necessarily not really expecting something in return. You just want to give out a great product.
That's key, because you don't have to always get something in return. Like the lady who offered me that job, what did she really get in return?
Mm-hmm.
What did she really get? But I worked hard. I was in college. I was able to get into their investment program. I was able to flourish in there, and I was able to get this knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But I got the knowledge, right? And I said, wow, somebody gave me an opportunity. I should give somebody else an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why make you say, or scratch that? Why say, hey, I got mine, so you got to get yours?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's you know, so basically that's how I feel about finance, man. I love finance. Like I said, I was bad at math, but now I help my kid with math all day.
Yeah, right.
You know, I help anybody who has a math situation. You know, now I'm open or an investment situation. You know, I find myself not giving financial advice because that's not what we do, but saying, okay, hey, I don't understand this. Oh, let me. It's easy. Or I point them to a book or something that they can pick up and read.
Right. And you know, we've given our story about kind of how we got into the investing game. So you know, I asked Sak Pase myself, you know, how did you get into it? He actually went back to high school, which is where we want to get to as well. He said when he was in high school, he was in a business finance magnet program, and there was actually a countywide stock competition. And he said he had a friend, and they placed in, one of them placed in the top 10, and one was in the top 20 in the county in terms of how they invested the fake money they were given. They were given $100,000 in fake money to invest. And there's actually quite a few programs that let you invest fake money to practice nowadays.
Yeah.
And one of them we're going to cover in our 10 apps in 10 days program is coming soon. We actually got on YouTube right now. There's a quick snippet if you want to check that out, but we're going to talk about some investment apps that are out here these days.
That's you know, those programs are widely available if you search them out.
Yeah.
Because I remember us doing something, not to that extent, but us investing like some fake money and it was a competition to see how well you did, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And especially even though you're young and you have kids, you should start your kids. I don't care how young you are, and I don't care how young your kids are. If they are able to walk, you should start teaching them the importance of saving and investing in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people are going to be like, well, how can you teach a 1-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a 1-year-old, right, and he's walking, right, and you give him something, right? Let's say you give him a cookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe break that cookie in half, right? And give him half now, and then say, this half will be later. For later. He can't understand that, but once you start doing that, he'll automatically know that I get half now, and then I get half later.
Yeah.
So I get a whole, right? But I can take some now, and I have to save some for later. That's a tip that you guys can use to teach even a 1-year-old to take a portion now and save some.
Yeah.
With a cookie. We just broke that down with the cookie. So you can start very early teaching your kids how to save, and then as they get older, you teach them how to invest in themselves.
And kids absorb stuff like sponges,
yo.
man. So even if you just have them sitting there listening to what you're doing or you're saying, showing them stuff, like they'll absorb it. And after a few years, once they're, you know, really even, you know, talking a lot, really able to comprehend things, like they'll be able to understand it because they'll be like, oh, I remember you showing me that before.
Yeah.
It's coming, like, I know.
Yeah, if your kid can use an iPad or use a phone with great accuracy, then trust me, your kid can absorb you teaching them financial responsibility.
If you look at some of these athletes that were prominent, you know, you got King Griffey Jr.'s son is playing football now. Barry Sanders' son is playing football. Steph Curry's out there. Doc Rivers' son. Like if you think about it now, of course, with the majors, like it's so many spots. But at the same time, like these athletes, when we were kids that we were looking up to, their kids who are our age are shining as well. Yeah. And it was just a repetition thing. They were like, oh, I was just around my dad. I was around my dad all the time. Yeah. That's it.
And you gotta look at it like that, You gotta look at like you said, they were around their dad, like Ken Griffey, and then Ken Griffey Jr. It was the same thing. They were around their dad. They absorbed it. Their dad probably, Ken Griffey Sr. probably took Ken Griffey Jr. out there in batting practice, right? Yeah. And he's absorbing that, and he's taking that in, and he's actually using that in his life. Mm-hmm. That the same thing happens when you teach your kids about investing and wealth building. It happens. You have to start early, though. You plant the seed early for a good harvest. If you don't plant the seed at the right time, then the harvest that you yield is going to be the harvest that you actually yield. Mm-hmm. If you wait till summer to plant, then the ground is hard already. It's harder to till, and you might not get a crop. Mm-hmm. But if you plant the seed in spring when you're supposed to plant it, you're just coming off winter. The ground is fertile. It's ready to be tilled. Mm-hmm. You get you get a better return. So it's just a way of thinking. We have to get out of one way of thinking and get into another way of thinking.
You mentioned in another podcast about we need to stop being consumers. And we need to be investors who just happen to be consumers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like we need to get out, and I actually been using that. I've been telling it to people. We need to stop just buy. I don't know if anybody familiar with Kramer off of Mad Money, but he's always saying like buy, sell. Yeah. So like that's what we do as a consumer. All we do is buy. But why can't we buy stocks? That way we're making money back, and it's almost like stuff is either going to be free or we're going to get some kind of benefit from it. Just like the Disney example that we did.
we did a vacation example last week. I'm not going to get into it. You can check out our podcast, but it followed the same concept. And the Kramer thing, you guys need to check out Mad Money. Check out Mad Money. We check out everything else. Check that out. Just check it out. And I won't go into detail what he goes through because I want you guys to check it out. Check out Mad Mondays. You'll find out what buy means and sell means. You get a lot of good information off of there. Even if you don't know what he's talking about, you'll become familiar with terms. You'll become familiar with stocks. You'll become familiar with prices and long-term and short-term investing. It'll start to kind of click if you start absorbing that, Mm-hmm. So what else Sak Pase?
So of course we talked about getting into investing. So I had to ask, what do you even invest in?
Okay.
And he mentioned about biotech funds, and actually in Market Mondays yesterday we had biotech. We were talking about how that industry has been approaching a bubble, as they say. And a bubble is simply like when stocks continue to rise and rise and rise
until they burst.
Exactly. At some point that bubble's gonna pop. So the question was, when's there gonna be a sell-off? So check out the Market Mondays to get that information. But he mentioned the biotech funds, other technology companies. Said he got into Facebook IPO as well, mm-hmm. and some energy companies. And it was funny because he mentioned when he was in high school during the program, he invested in Yahoo and AOL because it was like during the .com, the tech
.com boom. Yeah.
So if you think about it, not saying that he didn't have any other research with it, but he just went off of what was hot. Yeah. And he was like, man, technology is jumping off. I'm in high school. AOL is technology. Everybody was on AIM at the time. Yeah, Yahoo, and then Yahoo is technology. So it was like, let me just invest in some things that I'm fairly familiar with. And he's saying, Facebook, he was familiar with. He didn't get a chance to invest in Google, but he wished he would have.
Woo, I was just thinking that.
Imagine that. Yeah.
We missed that Google. We missed that Google train. It pulled out the station, and the smoke was going in the air.
Exactly. But there's several different things you can do. Even he mentioned that he invested in some companies that make body cameras because of the Mike Brown incident.
I was gonna say, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but there are companies out there, and like I said before, we don't offer financial advice, we offer financial education. But when you see situations like that, right, there was a grant, I believe, that was given to police departments around the nation.
Oh yeah, Obama, he gave like $250K, I think, over 3 years or something,
to implement the body cameras. And there are two major manufacturers of
That's
those
it.
body cameras, and they are traded on the New York Stock Exchange.
So that means that in 3 years, mandatory $250,000 is going to be spent at one of two companies.
And somebody,
mandatory.
Yeah, and the person who's investing in those two companies will make some money.
Oh, in the interview, he said he increased his money 70% in a weekend.
Wow.
In a weekend.
In a weekend.
And we don't want to make light of the tragic situation that happened with Ferguson, but it's stuff like that, yeah, man. It's stuff like that you have to think like, wow, I didn't even have to look at their financial stuff. This is just straight face value. It goes back to the Super Bowl incident that we gave, with or try a chip and stuff like that with Frito-Lay.
Yeah.
It's just, this was straight up face value. And you made money off of that. And it's like, you don't know how long it's going to be around. So if you feel like you made some decent profits, go ahead and sell. See if it's going to cool off. And then find a way to get back in.
Find a way to get back in, and like Eric said, we would never make light of a heavy situation like the Mike Brown situation, but we do want to have you ponder this. When you're looking at the news and absorbing the news, pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to what's actually happening around you, because the things that are happening around you are not only affecting one area, it's affecting all kinds of areas. So this one Mike Brown situation, it's affecting people in Ferguson, in the Missouri area, but it's affecting people in DC, and then it's going to affect people ultimately it's going to affect people on Wall Street, because there's going to be investments made off of that situation. And you have to look at, we here at Black Market Exchange, we push our listeners, our followers, our subscribers to be aware of your surroundings, man. That's the key right there. Just be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what you are consuming and how things can affect your life, because ultimately, whether you have an opinion on that situation or not, it affected your life because the president he granted grants for you.
Exactly.
So there now the police officers will have body cameras, within 2 years.
And just more and more cities just keep jumping on, That's just how it is. And, I know the military is probably already participating in stuff like that. They might even have more technology than, say, local law enforcement.
Yeah, they don't let us know all the technology.
Yeah. You see Iron Man. I believe that stuff wholeheartedly. But it's just, those are the kinds of things that you can look out for. Yeah. And, it's just like, of course, there needs to be some kind of research with it, because you don't want to miss the boat, get in, and be like, oh, it was too late. Because everything it's going to be cyclical at some extent, where it's going to go up, it's going to come back down. Yeah. So Black Market Exchange, we're also here to help you to try to gauge those things into, protect some profits or minimize losses type of thing with some of just the, not necessarily advice, but just the education. Yeah. We're not here to tell you, buy at $20 and sell at $22. Yeah, and if it drops to $17, sell it so you don't lose no more money. No, that's not what we're about.
That's not our thing at all. Our thing is not to tell you when to buy and when to sell. Our thing is to say, hey, you have an opportunity to buy something. Mm-hmm. You have an opportunity to build wealth. That is our thing. We want you to invest to build wealth for the future. What else you got to say, man? What else Sak Pase got to say?
So the next two is actually kind of like a joint question. Basically, we asked, how do you feel music, specifically lyrics, impact society? And what do you think if we promoted finances, such as we do with the verse of the week, within lyrics, like how would that dictate the way people think? And, we mentioned about how people are always into the latest fashion, because of hip hop. So, what if we talked about finance and investing? He said Jay-Z drinks Cristal, so everybody wants to drink Cristal. Diddy's talking about Ciroc, everybody wants to drink Ciroc, but they don't talk about Diageo.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you off, but I can't let Jay-Z fall under that bus. He said he quit sipping Cristal and he's on the Ace of Spades.
Oh, well, okay, the Ace of Spades. But you know, back on volume 1, when he said I was on Cristal and everybody thought it was beer.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the whole thing, the way it goes, and it's just like, you know, Sak Pase said, imagine if we started messaging investment strategies. Imagine if we were suggesting how to create wealth. What would happen?
What would happen? And man,
that's what Verse of the Week is about.
Yeah, that's what Verse of the Week is. And E.
All these artists are saying it. I mean, we've had Nas, Busta Rhymes, Rick Ross, Rihanna. This week we got Lil Kiki. Like it's across the gamut. It's everybody.
It's all across. It's a menagerie of MCs.
Menagerie.
A menagerie
wow.
of MCs.
Write that one down.
That's all. That means all kind of MCs that are using these. That are using these key terms that are sparking a interest in investing, and we're just pointing it out to you.
And even if they're not investing or not, that can spark in your brain to invest because they're talking about it.
It can.
These rappers might say, "Oh, I own a Bentley," but they might not actually own a Bentley. So it's the same difference.
And that's my thing. Rappers and people in the hip hop industry, they have tremendous influence over their listeners, and companies take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. They take advantage of that. So when a rapper is telling you to go buy these Reeboks, right? Instead of saying I'm only gonna listen to this song with my consumer mind, say, you know what? I'm gonna also listen to this song with my investor mind. Let me see. You want me to buy these Reeboks? Now the Reeboks is on my mind. You know what? Let me see how much Reebok is trading for. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Should I buy some Reeboks or should I spend the same money that I was gonna pay for the Reeboks and get a couple of shares of Reebok?
Yeah,
I'm finna look it up. How much? See how much Reebok is.
While you search that, the last quick point that I want to point that Sak Pase made, and it's very important. He said that in order to successfully communicate, we have to learn the language in the world of money in the way that we speak about it. He says, I think that we should use hip hop as a platform, not necessarily the language. So even though we can use investment concepts in the lyrics, which is technically the language, people still have to understand what these terms mean. Hello, Black Market Exchange, Finance Friday, Market Monday, Teaching Thursday, Verse of the Week, Brent Money in Life. That's why we're here. We're here so you can understand the language. By now, every one of you should know what a market cap is, what a portfolio is, what a stock, bond, mutual fund. All of you know this stuff. So when we say it now, you already know what we're talking about.
Yeah, because that's the point of that.
And that's the language.
That's the language, right? I don't know what happened on my Reebok search, but we'll get back to that because I want to elaborate on the language. When these words are being thrown around, right? It's like if a person comes up to you and they're trying to get directions, right? But they're speaking Mandarin and you only speak English. Mm-hmm. The communication is going to fall. You can see them pointing. You can see them saying, you know, they may know a little bit of English and you can kind of get the gist, but you can't really help them because you don't understand. That's what we're trying to convey with the message. That's why the terms are in there. That's why we point out the terms in the verse of the week. So when the investment opportunity, because what good is you having the money to invest and you don't even know the basic terms that will make you a successful investor, right? Exactly. You don't know where you're going. Just like you trying to give the person who only speaks Mandarin directions. What are the odds you're going to give him the right directions? Mm-hmm. Because you guys can't communicate. But if you're taking in the Market Mondays, the Teaching Thursdays, the Verse of the Week, taking in the podcast, really listening to it, doing research on your own, looking for books, understanding investing and understanding the terminology before you even step out there, you're going to have a better chance of going in the right direction. Every time, every day, all day.
And it's funny, like if you factor in when Big L had that track Ebonics, and he was talking about,
he went to the Big L,
and he was saying, my money is my cheese, my scratch, my cheddar. like a lot of these terms are interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to talk about an EPS and a net income, we really talking about the same language.
Yeah.
If we're talking about a company's valuation and its market cap, we're really talking the same language. Yeah. Equities and stocks. a lot of these terms are interchangeable, and that's why I think that people feel almost inferior. Is that they keep saying this,
intimidated. Yeah. They feel intimidated.
Inferior probably wasn't the right term. Intimidated is the
right term. No. Inferior is the right term too, because if someone comes if you're sitting in an office, right, and you're going to an interview, and they come in and they start spitting out all this verbiage that's over your head, you're gonna feel not only intimidated, but you're gonna be like, yo, I'm inferior, I don't know what he's saying. Yeah. But if they come in, if the same person comes in and the verbiage is of the same intellect that you understand, you're gonna feel like, oh, okay. Man, and you can spar right back and forth with them.
Being a pharmacist, like, I always hate hearing the medical terms for the bones, and nobody's gonna come into the pharmacy and talk about my flexor hurts and my ulna is like, they're not gonna talk about that. Yeah. People are saying my arm, my leg,
your flexor. They never say that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody is using that language. You gotta talk to me in layman's terms, guys. Like, you know what they're saying.
Yeah. But you know what? In my line of business, being in finance, I hear those terms all the time, and I have to be able to communicate, and I have to be able to convey my message as well, or something can get lost in translation. You know. So on that note, when we provide the opportunity, you know, it's a good idea that, hey, you should take it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because why not? It's out there. It's out there. It's for your taking. Mm-hmm. Actually, that's the goal. It's for your taking. We're there to educate, man. And you guys have been so receptive. You guys have been so open. You guys have been such you've given us such great feedback.
Comment below with your feedback now.
Yeah, man.
Just let us know what you think. Let us know, you know, what you even might want us to cover. We try to, a lot of this is organic, and we try to cover what's going on, what's relatable, but there might be something that, of course, we're missing, because I mean, we're human at the end of the day. So if you have something, please comment, subscribe, whatever, just to let us know what you want us to talk about, you know, what you want to hear about.
Yeah, definitely let us know, because you guys are our motivation. You are our motivation, and we thank you so much for all the support, and we thank you so much for your questions, because without your questions, that gives us the next topic. That gives us the next plateau. That gives us the foundation of in which we build Black Market Exchange, man.
And actually, the next topic is still in music, but we're going to switch it to the ladies with Janelle Monae.
Shout out to Janelle Monae. I love her. I love her music. Electric Lady was one of my favorite LPs. Yeah, I took it back. LP. It's a long play. That's what that means.
I mean, cats still drop EPs nowadays. They still do.
Yeah. I loved Electric Lady. I love her new Wonderland imprint. I'm feeling her new artist, Jendaya. You know, I like Janelle Monae, and she was on the Breakfast Club with Jendaya. And she dropped a name. What name did she drop? She drop?
She actually she dropped Mellody Hobson, who's with Ariel Investments.
Tell them a little bit about Mellody Hobson.
She's a tough sister in the game now. Okay? So Ariel Investments is basically like an investment firm. They also they just have a team of people. But Mellody Hobson is basically like a guru. And for you ladies out there, if you don't know her, you should get familiar, because
Google.
She should be someone you can look up to. Like, she is like the lady to look for when it comes to investing.
Someone you should strive to maybe not mirror, but you should subscribe to take a glimpse at. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to mirror anybody. You don't have to have that term. She a boss. No. Just someone you should take a look at, ladies out there, because she is really doing her thing on that side. And it's important that we bring this up, because when a music artist drops a name like Mellody's name,
that nobody probably ever heard of.
So in that whole Breakfast Club interview, that name probably went over everybody's head that was listening to the actual interview, but that name should have stuck out, especially to the sisters, because what she's doing is monumental, and it's paramount to continuing education, and it's paramount in continuing wealth education as well.
It's funny you use the term paramount because if I'm not mistaken, she's actually over DreamWorks Animation because her husband is George Lucas. Like that's crazy. And DreamWorks is actually on the stock market.
Yeah,
they were almost bought out by Hasbro Toys.
Oh yeah, and oh man,
it's so much going on.
So much going on right now. I don't even know. My head is spinning. Like it's going around, man. Because they were almost bought out by Hasbro Toys.
Yeah. Which
would have been a great idea, right? If that merger had happened, the movie tie-ins with the toys. Mm-hmm. Oh man, just think about that. How many toys you buy your kid, or how many items you buy your kid, whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's some pajamas, to tie in with their favorite kids movie.
Yeah,
dude.
You see what Frozen was doing out here.
Yeah, and that's how Disney capitalizes on that. They have a movie studio, and then they have the capability to market and provide your kid with whatever he or she may want from that movie. Mm-hmm. You want a snapback? You want a Frozen snapback? All right, you got that. You want Frozen slippers? You got that. You want Frozen T-shirt? You got that. Frozen book, you got that. Frozen DVD, you got that. Frozen download on your iPad, you got that. You got it all. They cover all the bases, and that plays a major. That is a major factor in market share and stock price.
Market share is such a crucial term. If any of you do not watch Shark Tank, please start watching it. Because you will always hear market share. What is your profit? And what is not your revenue? What is your profit?
What's your profit?
And what is your market share? Market share is in essence shelf space.
Yeah.
So if you are, mom and pop chip company.
Yeah.
What is your market share compared to, Frito-Lay or any of these other chip companies out there? And how much space do you have on a shelf in a grocery store that you're making money from? That's market share.
And let me expand upon that, right? So I'm gonna go a little bit off topic, but it all has to do with market share, right? Because when you go into a grocery store, things are not just put on the shelves willy-nilly. There's an algorithm that is used.
Dude, CNBC had a special on grocery stores and where they place items. The manager of it was Giant Eagle, which is I think more of a Midwestern grocery store. Uh-huh. My wife's from Columbus, so they actually have it there.
Yeah.
They actually went with I don't know if it was a CEO or just a manager of the store, and they're like, oh yeah, we place chips here because they're by this. They're by the drinks. Chips give you a salty mouth, so it needs to be by a drink, so you're going to buy that too.
That's right.
Like, they literally play, because you might wonder, why isn't the chips next to this, next to the buns, or next to that? Like, they play stuff so strategic, and they change it up, like, every few months. But you don't even think about it.
You don't even think about it. When you go to the grocery store, you can email us if you find a grocery store that Frito-Lay is not at eye level. I bet you can't find it. I bet you, email us if you can. We'll hook you something up. Look, I just threw that out there, E. Yeah. I didn't say what we were gonna hook them up with.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But because Frito-Lay owns that market share.
Yeah.
It's eye level is where you want to be. That's where you want your product to be.
It's almost like Kraft with their salad dressings and stuff.
Yeah, they're going to be always at eye level. You're never going to see Kraft at the bottom, and you're never going to see it way at the top. You're going to see Kraft at eye level because you're shopping and you're at eye level, and you say, "Oh, this is what I'm going to get." Mm-hmm. You're going to see the brand that owns the market share, and you're going to see the store brand in the middle as well, because they have a financial investment in their store brand.
Exactly. And see, as an investor, let's say we invest in Pepsi, which has Frito-Lay. Mm-hmm. Pepsi is taking our investment. They're paying these grocery stores. I want the third shelf because it's eye level, from the top. Whatever.
Yeah, third shelf.
They're paying extra for that to sell more, to have more revenue. And what does that revenue do? That's going to boost their stock price. It's going to boost their dividend. So you know what? That money you just invested just came back
to you on the back end.
Exactly.
So you invested on the front. Oh, we're going in and preach. We have a church today. Church tabernacle.
And this stuff is on. This is on tap. This is that Brent money mindset we trying to get people to have.
That's right. They're investing into themselves, so in turn they will see a return at the end. Yeah, it's not free to get eye level space.
No, not
if
at
you
all.
thought that's what it was, because you.
And don't think you get seniority. They're gonna be paying for that as long as they're around.
As long as they want eye level space, but you know what? They look at it as a good investment.
Yeah,
that's built into their budget.
They
were like,
that's marketing.
Yeah, people sat down and said, this has to be built into our budget. We cannot have Lay's on the bottom shelf. Because you know what? If you do have Lay's on the bottom shelf, people are going to notice that right away. They're going to be like, oh, where are Lay's? Why they put all the Lay's down here? You know what? They lost their market share. That's why. That's why they put all the Lay's down here. But that's already a part that's built into the budget to say, we need to keep, this is how we keep a monopoly on the market share.
Yeah.
This is one key component for us to do that, is to keep our chips, keep our products at eye level.
And if you think about it, all these companies are owned by the same people, right? So you get Pepsi owning Frito-Lay, Pepsi, Gatorade. So if you think, a lot of those are in the same aisle, if I'm not even mistaken. You might have one side might be chips and one side might be drinks,
yeah.
And they're all eye level. So when you look to the left, here you got a bag of wavy Lay's, and then you turn around and you got Diet Pepsi sitting right there.
They getting you coming and going, son. They're not playing around with that. But we're saying that to say this. Those companies are investing in their sales, and that is wise. If I had a product in a major grocery chain, you know what I would want to do? I would want to put my product at eye level.
Yeah.
And it benefits not only the product, but the grocer as well. Because most of the grocers you go to are traded on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, we've already talked about Kroger. You got Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
I feel like Safeway is somewhere in there. Let me look right now.
Yeah, look that up.
Safeway is a California-based company, but they own like Dominick's and a couple other different grocers as well.
Grocers, but we're also saying that to say this, right? So just looking at that scenario, right? Look at the investment opportunities that are just found within the grocery store. Mm-hmm. You're buying Lay's, you're going to take those home. You love to shop at, let's say, Kroger's. You're going to shop at Kroger's every time. Or you shop at Walmart. Or you shop or you shop at Whole Foods, right? You're buying the products from Whole Foods, right? Mm-hmm. Those are all investment opportunities. So let's just put it in the layman's terms. You say, you know what? I heard something about if your product is in the eye level, is at eye level, and I see Lay's, that must mean they own that market share. This is just me putting two and two together. Let me see how much Lay's is how much the stock is trading for. That may be something I want to invest in.
Yeah.
Simple as that. You walked into a grocery store and you be like, you look around in the grocery store. Wow, Kroger's is crowded today. You know what? Kroger's is crowded every day. What are they trading at on the New York Stock Exchange? Maybe I can get me a couple of shares because they look like they're doing good business. That is layman's terms in looking at investing. But a lot of the times, we pass these investments right by.
Yeah. Safeway isn't on the stock market, but Kroger is currently trading at $76.33.
I love Kroger, by the way.
They have a dividend of 74 cents per share per year, and their earnings per share, or EPS, is $3.44. So for every share that they have, they make $3.44.
And they closed up on Friday, right? They were up?
Yeah, they were up. They went up 24 cents on Friday.
24 cents on Friday. Yeah, so keep listening to the Black Market Exchange. Keep subscribing because you'll get familiar when I say terms like they closed up.
Exactly.
And he answered just like right away because those terms you'll start to get familiar with those terms and you start researching on your own. You'll get you'll get familiar with those terms and then everything will start to make more sense. But like we said, you walk into Kroger, you're buying groceries out of there, and a lot of people that walk into Kroger, are they really aware that there's an investment opportunity in there?
No, not at all, man.
Yeah, are they really aware of that? And it's investment opportunities like that pass people by, that we say, hey, we at Black Market Exchange say, hey, that can't happen. That can't happen. We can't have that. We can't have that. We got to give people an opportunity to build wealth, you know? You walk into, like I said, man, you walk into the grocery store, yo, man, there's an investment opportunity everywhere.
Dude, I recorded a video for Instagram a couple weeks back, and I was actually just sitting in my car looking around, and I'm like, let me see how many investments are all around me right now. Man, I saw Zoe's Kitchen. I saw Dick's Sporting Goods. I saw Best Buy. I saw Target. I think there was Walmart was just down the street. Chipotle was across the street.
Woo.
Taco Bell. Dude, this is all Lowe's. I mean, I was literally, imagine I'm standing up literally right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Literally,
I'm
standing up.
I'm in an intersection. I'm in the middle. And I'm looking to my left, my right, my back, and I'm just looking at all these companies that are on the stock market. Now, these are just the stores outside. We're not even talking about the products inside the store.
Look, guys. You can circumnavigate a busy shopping center and see 50 investment opportunities.
Dude, it's crazy.
Just circumnavigating and to say, oh, I'm back at the same point. I saw 50 investment opportunities. And like E said, that's not even going inside. Yo, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And everybody's got different strategies to do it. I mean, I'm not saying to do this, but even if your strategy was, you know what, I'm going to go in the grocery store this week. Let me see what all products are eye level. And let me see which ones are on the stock market that are eye level. And I'm going to research those, and maybe I should invest in them.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Say, you know what, when I go grocery shopping, the next time I go grocery shopping, I'm going to write down everything that I saw that was at eye level, and I'm going to see if it's on the stock exchange, and I'm going to start watching it.
And it might not be directly like Oreo, but Oreo was owned by Nabisco.
Yeah.
You know? And Nabisco was, you know, that was... Hold on, let me double check for you. I want to get y'all the right info.
Get the right info, So you think about Nabisco, right? And you think about Kraft Foods, and you think about Lay's, and you think about all these things that you're passing by, whether you consume them.
Nabisco's owned by Kraft. I thought so. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, Kraft.
So basically, Kraft. We already talked about Kraft salad dressing. So now you got throw Oreos in there.
So you look at that and you say, wow, man, how can I come out of my consumer mindset and go into my wealth building, my investment mindset? And you know what? That segues into when we talk about mindsets. We talk about people who are this type of thinker or that type of thinker, or people that just are set in one way. What do you think about Starbucks' initiative to discuss race?
I mean, me personally, I don't have a problem with it. Honestly, I don't drink coffee like that, but even if I were to see it, like, I probably wouldn't even thought twice about it at first.
Yeah.
So for it to get as big as it did, I was kind of surprised, because I thought most people just kind of would get their cup and they just keep it moving, like not even thinking about it.
So let's go.
But people were like, "Oh my god,
yeah, let's go."
What is happening?
Give us a brief synopsis of the whole thing that Starbucks tried to do.
So basically, Starbucks they had these like words and phrases on the side of their cups, and it was kind of like race, religion, we must stick together. Like, this whole thing was about like we must like stick together kind of campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, they would just throw these terms up there to get people thinking. And it was just, some people were like, oh, it's supposed to help you to want to talk to your neighbor because you're standing in line, or if you're in the coffee shop, oh, you should talk to your neighbor about it. And you know, some people were, you know, my whole thing was like, either you're going to talk to somebody or you're not. It doesn't matter if it's about race or not.
You know what? I commend Starbucks for that. That was one of the greatest things that anybody could ever do.
Because if somebody didn't even shop at Starbucks, they probably did because they just want to see what the hoopla was about.
And you know what? Also, if you never talk about a situation, so let's say I was outside and I was working on my roof and I accidentally hit my finger with the hammer instead of the nail, right? Mm-hmm. And I just got off the roof and I never attended to that problem. Guess what? I might have some issues later down the line with my finger that I just hit with the hammer because I didn't address the issue. I think Starbucks was really, they were courageous and they were bold, stepping out there and saying, we're all human beings. That's the key that people need to get. That's the point. Really. This is Carter Park saying that's the point. We're all human beings. It doesn't matter your sexual orientation. It doesn't matter your race, your skin color. We're all human beings. And guess what? Guess what, people? Guess what, yo? We all have faults.
Right.
And I think that when people act like, well, I don't want to discuss anything, I think that just hurts. It doesn't help because I think what they were trying to do was they were trying to get people to talk about it. We shouldn't be afraid to just say, hey, talk about it. I don't understand it. I don't understand where you're coming from. I don't. And I think that would help a lot if people would just talk about it and not just say it's all right. When we know we hit our hand with the hammer when we were trying to fix our roof. Because we shouldn't have been up there. We didn't know what we were doing anyway. Yeah, But and that's my human side because I'm a human being. I don't like people subscribing to this and subscribing to that because we're all human beings and we all have faults. But I do appreciate Starbucks for putting that initiative out there just to get people talking about it.
Right.
Like it's not gonna disappear. If you got a hole in your wall, you got a hole in your wall, dude. Mm-hmm. Unless you get it fixed, you just can't put a poster over it. Like Andy Dufresne did in what was that movie? Shawshank. yo, it's still a hole there, man. It's a hole there. But this did give this gave Starbucks a lot of pub.
Exactly, and looking at the stock, it's at about $95 right now. Last week, it only dropped like $1.50. So clearly. It didn't hurt them at all. People still drinking their coffee regardless of what's on the cup.
Starbucks is addictive. I don't know what they putting in that coffee.
I want to know what is their market share of coffee.
They own that market share. They own that market share. I think they own Seattle's Best as well.
I heard a story that the owner of Seattle's Best, Starbucks wanted to put some stores in certain locations. Or I thought they were
the same entity.
Well, no. Before they didn't used to be.
Oh, okay.
Seattle's Best was his own, and Starbucks was like, "Oh, we want these locations, or we want to buy these stores," and Seattle's Best was like, "Nah, player, like we good, we gonna stay where we at." So Starbucks just bought the whole franchise itself. So they were like, "Okay, you don't want to sell it to us, we just gonna take it."
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you ever heard of it, but there's a term called hostile takeover.
Hostile takeover.
So let's say
that's what's happening on Empire.
So let's say that Starbucks is on the stock market, and let's say Seattle's Best was on the stock market.
What they're gonna
do? And
do?
Starbucks wanted to negotiate. Let's say Starbucks CFO went to Seattle's Best CFO. Like, let's sit down. Let's merge these two companies together and make one entity. And Seattle's Best CFO or Chief Financial Officer was like, "We're good. We like what we're doing." Well, Starbucks can go to Seattle's Best shareholders and say, "You know what? We want to do this. We'll give you this if you agree to it and vote in our way."
Yeah.
And that's how a hostile takeover happens.
It happens.
So either you can get down or lay down, as they say. Like
you get down or lay down. So that's what happened to them. And they own that market share. And I think that Starbucks is going to own that market share now until infinity. Because
Starbucks is going nowhere.
Because they found that niche, and I think the next closest competitor is what, Dunkin' Donuts. I think Dunkin' Donuts and Dunkin',
for coffee wise.
Yeah, for coffee.
Maybe.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts is creeping up on them. But if you can get somebody to pay $5-6 for a coffee drink, you're doing something right.
Yeah,
you're doing something right. And And my wife's she has a BA in marketing, and we still can't, with both of our heads together, we still can't figure out what did they do to market their coffee to people and it be so, what was their marketing strategy that was so effective? It was so effective. I'm like, what is going on? You go in and you get a frap, and a frap is like $5. $5.
See, I don't know nothing about all that, man.
I
I know their stock is good. I don't know nothing about a
That's
frap,
why their
a
stock
whatever.
is good. That's why it is good. So when you go into Starbucks, right, you pay $5 or $6 for a drink, right? Know that is affecting somebody financially, and somebody is building wealth off of that. Not only the CEO, not only the board of execs, not only the corporate heads, the managers, but there are people who are actively trading that on the stock exchange. They're trading Starbucks on the stock exchange, man.
So according to Fast Company, which is just, it's like some kind of like a Recode, blog site, they post information, entrepreneurs website, whatever. Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, this is in August of last year.
Okay.
Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts collectively have 60% of the United States market share for coffee. And Starbucks is 36% of that 60.
Wow.
Okay?
So
out of every 10 people, 6 of them are going to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts for coffee.
yeah, that's right.
At every 10 people.
That's right. And I was saying that Dunkin' Donuts is gaining on them. I didn't know that the Dunkin' Donuts was that close. To
Honestly, I didn't either. Yeah, because you wouldn't think that was their main focus. I think they sell more coffee than they sell donuts.
They do. And Dunkin' Donuts is also in your local grocer now.
Because if you think about it, Starbucks was based off of the coffee. They just so happen to have other stuff. Dunkin' Donuts was based off the donuts. They just so happen to have other stuff.
Yeah. So and they came with the adage that, okay, you can get coffee here that rivals coffee at Starbucks for a much cheaper price.
I think they even have this thing where you can like make it at home. It's like a kit.
Yeah.
You just buy it and you can make Dunkin' Donuts coffee at home.
Yeah, you can like I said, you can find Dunkin' Donuts next to Starbucks coffee in your grocery aisle, man.
Market share, man.
Market share. And on that note, we're gonna close out. We thank you guys for listening. We thank you guys for subscribing. We thank you guys for all the comments. We thank you guys just for being involved, man. We here at the Black Market Exchange are here to help you. So email us with your questions. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And don't forget to comment, man. What you got?
Yeah, this is Eric Hip Hop Stock once again. Thank you for tuning in to Brent Money and Life, episode 5. We can just continue to bring some great information to you. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. The email is info@thebmax.com. If you have any questions, suggestions, just send them our way. Let us know what you want to hear about. Even if you are an aspiring investor, and let's say you want to be interviewed yourself, you want to join in, let us know. Maybe we can make that work.
We can make it happen.
We're all about just spreading the knowledge. If you do taxes, you a CPA, whatever. If you want to contribute, hey, let us know. We're trying to make this, it's not even solely just almost about investing. It's just finance. But like all this stuff even ties into budgeting. The Mickey D effect, that was budgeting.
That was budgeting.
It just so happened that you can invest with the right budgeting.
That's right. And on that note, I'll say this. Budgeting helps you. Let me start over. Financial literacy helps you build wealth, which helps you invest. They go hand in hand. Right? So you have a budget. You have a budget that's helping you save. You have a budget that's helping you cut out things that are unnecessary, right? You can take those funds that were allocated for wasting and allocate those funds for building wealth. And on that note, I'll say live life, love God, we're out. Thanks.